Hi, friends. Okay, so let's just get straight to it. As you can see, I am no longer in the Dominican Republic. I am home, and I've shared more frequently on my Facebook, so everybody on Facebook already know that I came home. But for those that are not on my Facebook and don't really realize what's going on or what happened, um, I'm home. I set out to go to Dominican Republic to stay there for 4 months, um, give or take, just to see if I like living there and if I wanted to make the full transition there to live there full time. But I didn't need 4 months to figure that out. Just no. Um, so yeah, I just woke up one day last week and said I'm ready to go home. So I booked my flights, booked the dogs, coordinated all the logistics, and we came home. Um, there's it, Dominican Republic is just not for me. Period. Before I get started, I want to say if you are a diehard love Dominican Republic person, just click off because I'm gonna say some things that might trigger you, and I'm not posting this and I'm not sharing this for debate. I'm not sharing my experience for you to try to prove any other points to me. I've already lived it and experienced it, and I'm over it. So just click away if you're triggered by by people saying things about Dominican Republic that you don't agree with or that you don't like. Just wanted to put that disclaimer out there because it's about to get real. Um, so what I will say is that, okay, bottom line, I did not like living in Dominican Republic. I won't ever even go back to visit. And I'm gonna get into why. So get comfortable because it's gonna be kind of long. Um, it's probably quicker for me to tell you what I liked about it first because that list is very short. then then I'll get into the cons. So what I liked about it, the food. I love Dominican food. I'm originally from Miami, so I grew up around a lot of Dominicans. Miami is a huge melting pot, so we had everything: Puerto Rican, Cuban, Jamaican, Bahamian, Haitian, everything in Miami. So I grew up around a lot of different foods, and I do love Dominican food. So I love the authentic food there. Couldn't find a whole lot of it in Punta Cana, but when I went up north and spent time up there, it's everywhere, and it was so good. It was delicious. Um, so the seafood is good too. The seafood that I had in Punta Cana, at some places it was good, not all. Uh, the beaches, I'm a huge beach person anyway, and that was the main reason why I chose to go to the Caribbean, because I love the food and the beaches. So Punta Cana beaches, beautiful. The water is beautiful. Um, it's very flat, so there's no mountains. There's nothing to see out there, but the water is pretty. So I do love the beach. The beach, the food. I met some good people there. I did. I did meet some good people there. There's some shitty people there too, a lot of them. But I want to recognize the good people that I met. I did meet some, and I'm still talking to them. And I'm grateful for those good people that I met, because there are so many bad people, so many terrible people. So you have to recognize the good ones that you meet. There are some good ones, and you got to find them. You got to meet them. Um, that's it. That's the list. That's what I liked about the Big Ear Republic. Um, well, in overall, dogs are crazy. I don't know if y'all can hear that, but my dogs just went crazy. When I went up north, I did like more of the north than I did in Punta Cana. Up north, it's more, you'll get a more authentic feel for the country. It's not as touristy as Punta Cana. Um, it's more local. So it's not as crazy as Punta Cana. I really enjoyed the north, and then there's the mountains that I love, the waterfalls, and because there's so much more nature up north, there's more activities to do. So I absolutely love the north. That's more of the look and the feel that I was going for, going to that country. And if I had to do anything over, I would have chosen to stay on the north versus staying in Punta Cana. Um, so those are the things that I liked about the country. What I didn't like, whew, I'm gonna try to keep this short, but um, for one, I did not like. Y'all know I'm a huge animal person. I love my dogs, my cat. I don't like how culturally they have no respect for animals, no compassion, no care for animals. There's so many street dogs there. It's such a shame. And um, you can tell, for me, I can tell a lot about a people based on how they treat animals. They poison animals, they kick them, they throw rocks at them. They have no respect or compassion for animals at all. That tells me all I need to know about that place. It's not a place for me. I can't stand around and watch that. Um, they I've seen on Facebook so many times people catch uh dogs in the middle of a poison um episode, you know. People like literally they purposely poison these dogs because they don't want them around their house or their neighborhood or whatever. And it's just so terrible. They have no animal control in Dominican Republic. So it's a pandemic. It's really bad. It's really bad there, and I can't sit around and watch it. I can't be a part in the midst of that. I did meet some rescuers, formally and informally, um, that really do care about the animals. And you know where who they are? They're not Dominicans. They're Canadians. They're Americans. They're Germans. They're coming from everywhere into this country to help them try to get this under control. But the problem is so big. It's bigger than them. So it's really sad. It's sad. I sort of adopted a street dog, and that was treated really bad. He lived in my community. He never left. um but he was treated really bad by the neighbors, security, the maintenance workers, the kids. They treated him so bad. He didn't have a home. So I started, feeding him and spending time with him, let him play with my dogs, uh minimally, because I don't know, if he was sick or anything. But I would feed him twice a day. Every time I cook for my dogs, I'm fixing, feeding Roger. So that's what we named him, Roger. But that was a big thing for me, the way they treat animals, because I all I could think of is if my dogs got loose and ran off and got lost, how would people treat my dogs? And they're big too. People in Dominican Republic are afraid of big dogs. They don't like them. It's so ignorant and annoying. Um, I could be walking my dogs and I walk mine on a leash. They could just be sniffing, minding their business, not even looking at people, and people got something to say. Oh, cuidado, cuidado. Asking if they bite, and like, keep fucking walking, mind your business. My dog's not even looking at you. It got so annoying that I was just like, I'm so ready to go. But that was one of the big things for me, the whole dog situation there. Um, and another thing I didn't um, like I said, there are shitty people there, and I got financially taken advantage of on multiple occasions in just the 2 months that I was there. I'm not gonna get into the details of each situation, but it was just bad. It's like, I they tried to some people try to say, oh, DR has a bad reputation, but people aren't like that. It never happened to me. So I tried to come and leave my American mindset behind, like trying not to be, in the mind frame of everybody out to get me, everybody, I tried to let my walls down, and no, I should not have, because they are exactly what people say they are. And it's unfortunate because, like I said, there are some good people there, but I was taken advantage of. I was scammed multiple times, and that's not cool. I didn't go over there to live like that, and that's just because the culture it's a whole a hustle culture there. Everybody is hustling, trying to do anything to make a dollar, and that made me realize that I don't want to be in a country like that. Um, I just want to go somewhere where people just live, and it's not all about hustle culture. You know, that's what Dominican Republic is, and I don't want to be there. That's not my idea of getting away from the U.S. to, you know, retire or relax. That's not the place. Um, so I didn't like that, and I let it slide again and again, and three times. That's it. I'm done. I'm taking my ass home because y'all is it's ridiculous. Um, so I did not like that. Another thing I didn't like about Punta Cana is that it's a developing city. It's a new city. It's still developing. It's still growing, and I didn't realize how that would affect me until I got there. So y'all know I'm in real estate. I sell a lot of new construction. So that's where my mind is. New construction. When I'm here, when I'm working, I'm always peeping the scene, looking at what's coming, what's being put there, what are they building there, and I need to find out the details and all of that. So my mind is always going, going, going when I see construction or ground clearing. Um, so because there's so much of that in Punta Cana, so much new development, my mind couldn't rest. Like I had to make a conscious effort to not think about it. Um, so that was another reason why Punta Cana was not for me, because I didn't go there to work. I didn't go there to invest. I didn't go there to work. None of that. Um, but that's what that place is for. Punta Cana is, if you're going there for vacation, wonderful. Stay at the resorts, stay on the beach. There's nothing to see away from that but a bunch of construction. So um but if you're looking for a place to go to invest or to start a business, Punta Cana is for you. They need all the businesses that you can think of. They lack so many resources, so many of the things that you need is not there. So it's like whatever you need, you got to go there and create it. And that's not where I am in life. I've already started all the businesses. I've done this. I've done that. I'm not. I'm past that phase of my life. I just want to relax and enjoy what everybody else has created and support what the businesses that everybody else is starting. I'm not. I don't have the energy anymore. I don't have the brain power anymore to start any more businesses. So that's why I one of the reasons another reason I didn't like it there. But if that's where you are in life and you want to start a business and you want to invest, that's the place to do it. um yeah, but other than that, Punta Cana is more business, if that's what you want to do, or vacation. To me, there's no in between. Not for me. um so those are a few of the things that I did not like about Punta Cana. Another thing is the construction. The construction is horrible. Now, for those of you that have been following me, you saw that I started out in the beginning showing, marketing some of their developments. but that lasted a very short period of time. I stopped. I didn't market anything else. And the reason why is because the more time I spent looking into their construction and their developments, and looking at houses, even just for myself, because the house that I was staying in, it was just a temporary thing until I can find where I really wanted to live if I was going to stay. So I was looking at houses for myself, and it was just disappointment after disappointment. Their photography is so amazing there. I have to give them that, because everything online looks, oh my gosh, that's so beautiful. Oh wow, it looks so new, so modern, so clean. But when you get there in person, it's like, this don't look like the pictures. It was so bad. Like, they don't maintain anything. The houses, the material that they build with, let's start with that. It's just brick and putty and paint. They don't have HVAC systems like we do, so there is no ventilation. You're literally in a brick box. Um, so what does that mean in a tropical climate? You're subject to mold. Mold grows on, it's just a natural part of living there. And I don't like that. I'm not with it. Um, is it, and I can see why a lot of investors want to just buy and flip, because nobody wants to maintain that. It's a lot more. It's a whole nother set of tasks you have to do to maintain a house in a tropic environment like that. Um, it's a lot of maintenance to keep up with those homes, and by not having any ventilation, that just really adds a whole lot to the problem. Um, so investors just want to buy and flip. They don't want to hold on to anything. Nobody wants to maintenance. Um, and that was a problem that I ran into when I saw houses that I liked. Most of them were for sale, not for rent. So, but I would still contact those sellers or those owners or their agents and ask, are they willing to rent? Because this is the house. It checks all the boxes. It has everything that I need. Are they willing to rent? I can't find anything for rent that has what I need. Um, and they're like, no, no, absolutely not. Nobody wants to rent. They don't want the maintenance. They just want to make their quick buck and keep it moving. So that was an issue that I ran into. Um, yeah. So the construction, I don't recommend investing in any properties there, because it takes a lot to keep them up, to maintain them, and to keep them livable. Um, and to try to have a property manager there, ooh, good luck with that, because uh, they're not all great, and I met a few of them that are not great. Uh, this guy showed me a house up north when I was looking at houses up north. This property manager showed me this house, and it was the pictures were gorgeous. I was just so sure about this house, and I get there to see it, and it's like, when was this house built? It was damaged beyond livable. Um, he said that it had roof damage, and there was a recent heavy rainfall, like maybe 2 days prior, and he said it got damaged from the rain. But me assessing this damage, this isn't new damage. This has been sitting like this. All the ceilings in the whole house, every room in the house, the ceilings were brown. The walls were brown, paint all peeled off in every single room. It's like this house just needed to be completely gutted and rebuilt, because it was terrible. And I'm like, if he knew this house was like this, he wouldn't have scheduled a showing with me. So that's how I know he ain't been checking up on that house. This was his first time seeing it in months. So good luck with choosing a good property manager there. So yeah, it was very disappointing. house hunting for myself, not even, as a realtor, just even for myself. It was just disappointment after disappointment. Everything, nothing looked like any of the pictures that I saw. So I was like, you know what, just forget it. I'm done. Um, so construction is a no for me. Um, Driving. I should have mentioned this one first. Everybody in the States think that the driving in their city is the worst. And I thought Houston had the worst driving. I thought Miami had the worst driving until I got to the Dominican Republic. Ooh, I'm telling you, there are literally no road rules. I can count on one hand how many stoplights there are. I can say that I never saw any drivers stop at a stop sign. Um, yeah, it just doesn't exist. And it's so dangerous. It's you literally risking your life every time you get in a car. And I can't even say just a car. It's all types of vehicles that you have to look out for. You got the motos, you got golf carts, you got ATVs, bicycles, buses, vans, everything. All of these are on the roads. And I'm telling you, you could be driving down what looks like um a two-lane highway, a north and a south, but it's gonna quickly turn into 5 lanes because people are impatient and they drive like fucking idiots. It's so bad. And you would think that the professional drivers would be more cautious. Like they're even worse. It's like you have passengers whose lives are in your hands and you still driving like an idiot. And they driving like an idiot, like a bat out of hell, and be talking on the phone and texting at the same time. The motos, they make traffic just the absolute worst because they do stupid stuff and they expect to have the right of way at all times. And it's, God, it's just, I could never drive there ever in life. I would never drive there. I stayed there for 2 months. I never drove once. I never wanted to drive. So I can't be in a place where I can't drive. I can't be in a place where I don't feel safe on the roads. It's just senseless to put your life in risk just by simply driving. Like every day, all day. It's terrible. So yeah, I can't be in a place like that. When I went, before I went, I was excited because I had literally planned that I'm not gonna drive. I just want to relax and be a passenger because of all the driving that I do as a real estate agent here in Houston. And y'all know Houston is so big and wide and spread out. Houston could be, it could take you an hour to get from one place to another in Houston. Um, and so I drive a lot here. And so I set my mind to, when I get over there, I'm not driving. I'm just gonna be a passenger and just take it all in. And so when I got there, it no longer was an option. It was a requirement to be a passenger and not drive because of how stupid they drive. Um, so that kind of it it it, it decreased my anxiety a little bit by letting the locals drive because they're the experts at driving like idiots. So I just let the drivers drive me around. So it decreased my anxiety a little bit about being on the roads, but I was still like my heart was still racing even in the back seat because, like I said, you would think that a taxi driver or whatever is going to be more cautious. No, they drive stupider. So I'm in the back seat. I can't even look out the windows. I just had to look down at my phone the whole time every time I'm in a car because the way they slam on brakes, how close they get to other vehicles, how close they get to pedestrians before they decide to slam on brakes. The driving is stupid. You ain't seen no bad driving until you got to the Dominican Republic. End of that. um, what else? Um, the lack of resources, how much I had to spend importing basic necessities, just basic things I couldn't find that I needed. Um, I spent well over $1,000 shipping stuff into the country that I needed. And it's not because of the price of the item, but it's the price of the courier service. I couldn't find an electric vacuum. I couldn't find a spray mop. I couldn't find an electric can opener, a crock pot, just basic things that, we take for granted here in the US. Over there is a luxury. Kennels for my dogs. Um, Command strips. I couldn't even find command strips. Just basic things they don't have in Punta Cana. So I had to spend so much money ordering stuff and, having it shipped in through the courier to make sure I got it. Because if you don't use a courier, you may never even see it. So um, I didn't like that. So while people think it's cheaper to live in Dominican Republic, some services and some things are cheaper, but what you're saving in those areas, you're spending in other areas. So everything I thought I was saving, I was spending it in ordering stuff that I needed, having stuff imported. So it was not a win for me. I didn't save anything. Um, so for me to live there comfortably in a house there, I'd have to spend minimum $3,000 to get everything that I wanted or needed to feel comfortable in a house. And I just wasn't willing to do that. It's not worth living in Dominican Republic. It's not worth spending that kind of money. I don't like back to the construction part of it. I don't like that they pay these laborers maybe $10 a day to build these houses, and they're charging American prices because they see so many Americans and Canadians and Europeans coming into the country. Um, so they, all they see is money. So now they want to triple and quadruple these prices, and it's not even worth that. The quality is nowhere near what they're charging. It's nowhere near American standards or European, or, you know. So that was another thing I didn't like. I would never spend $3,000, nowhere near that, to live in Punta Cana. It's not worth it. It's a developing country. What are you doing? um, the 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 soil is not rich. I don't know if you know what I mean by that, but it's like a spiritual thing. There's no spirit in Punta Cana. Um, I can compare that to try to make sense of that. In Hawaii, Hawaii has rich soil. Hawaii has spirit. You like the aloha spirit is a real thing. Like I feel it. I would spend any amount of money that I can afford to live in Hawaii because the aloha spirit is there. The soil is rich. There's so much culture and pride there. I didn't feel any of that in Dominican Republic. It just feels like a place. You're there, you know. So I would never spend that much money to live there. Now, if you can live the a minimalist life, and you can afford, I mean, not afford, but you can tolerate living in a $500 or $600 apartment, you can find that there. I can't live like that. Um, and I learned that about myself. So, um, yeah. Ooh. All in all, Dominican Republic is not for me. Um, I had so many experiences that I did not like. Way more dislikes than likes. Way more cons than pros. The cons outweigh the pros by far. Um, um, in the beginning, when I did my 1 month update, I did share with y'all how my daughter just did not like being there. She was always complaining and ready to go, and I was upset about it. Because I wanted her to like it so much. I wanted to like it so much. But as time went on, every day things happened. you know, and that's why my decision was so quick to just come back home. Because every day things happen, and I try to let things slide. I try to embrace the culture and be more open minded, but it wasn't that. It just was not for me. And I have to be honest with myself and forget about everybody else's experience and their love story um, for the country, and just focus on myself and do what was best for me. So I'm not ashamed to say that I left and came back home. I have to be honest about my experience there, and just be candid. Yeah, I left. So many people, so many content creators and people on YouTube and Instagram and Facebook want to glamorize a place that isn't glamorous, and I'm not here for that. I ain't gonna sit up here and cap and make it seem like, oh, the country is so beautiful. Oh, this, it wasn't. Dominican Republic is grungy. Is It lacks civilization. And I learned two things about myself being there. I learned that I am way more conservative than I thought I was. I always knew I was a little bougie, but being there made me realize just how much I appreciate. I don't know. Um, I just need to be somewhere that's more conservative, somewhere where people just live and not have to hustle and, you know, hustle other people out of their hard earned money. I like clean. It's not clean there. Um, yeah, no, it just wasn't for me. And I got to be honest, there's so many other places in this world that I can visit, so many other countries that I can visit that could be a strong contender. Um, this is the first place that I've tried to live on my own outside of all the travel I did with the military, but actually trying to live as an expat. This was the first place, and it just wasn't it. So I'm not going to try to force it. I'm not going to, try to make it seem like it was something that it really wasn't. It was not for me. I need to be in a more conservative place, clean, where people care about clean streets and, um, you know, keeping the streets clean of everything, trash and, stray dogs and dilapidated buildings, and I mean people just live in comfort. That's comfortable for them, and it's not for me. People sitting around on the streets, on the street corners and sidewalks, just drinking, and I don't like seeing all that. um, that's not for me. I don't drink, I don't smoke, and I'm a bit more reserved, so I can see other places that would be a better fit for me. So I learned that about myself. As much as I went with an open mind to try to embrace the culture, it's just not for me. Um, so that was one thing I learned. I'm a bit more conservative than I thought I was. So that's just not going to work for me. Um, the other thing, I'm not a minimalist. I can't live a minimalist lifestyle. I thought that I could. I tried, but I can't. I need all my comforts and conveniences and space. Um, Before I left, I remember saying on one of my videos that my house is just too big. It's too much to upkeep, and so I went into a smaller house there. I can't do that. I need what I have. It's the reason why God blessed me with what I have, because I need it and I love it. I love having it. So it's comfortable for me. I couldn't get comfortable in a smaller house. It was cute. It was a beautiful property. It was an Airbnb, so I'm actually going to link it below, because that was a property manager that was amazing. Anything that happened in the house, I sent him a text on WhatsApp. They was already ringing the doorbell. They were excellent, amazing to work with. So if you need a property manager, I'm gonna put you in touch with these people because they were amazing. And I got lucky because I mentioned earlier about how houses on pictures never look like they do. Houses in person never look like they do in the pictures. I got lucky with this one because this one actually did. It looked exactly like the photos. So I got lucky with that one. And that's a good property manager because they actually care about how they present a home. A lot of them other ones that they don't. And yeah, that's dangerous when you want to invest in Airbnb there. Um, but yeah, so I'm not a minimalist. I can't downgrade or downsize that much. That house was less than half of what I have now, and I thought I could do it, but I couldn't. I need my space. My dogs need their space. They need their yard. Um, so those are the two things that I learned about myself there. And another thing I want to say that I appreciated about the country is that people have so little, but they're still so happy. I shared when I went up to the mountains for Thanksgiving in up north in Puerto Plata. I spent Thanksgiving in the mountains with the veterans, um, and I took some pictures, and what I showed was out in the mountains. You couldn't see what was right in front of me. That was the sad part. Going up, it was a hike up, up, and up to get to where we were. On the way up there, it was so sad. For me, it was sad to see. So what I saw was, I can't even call them houses, but I don't know if they're called villages or what, but you got sticks with a tin roof. Those are their homes. And while it looked like poverty to me, um, to them, that was their home. And what I can say is that the kids were happy. The kids were in the streets, riding bikes, kicking balls around, playing, hula hooping, and all of their homes were decorated because they start decorating for Christmas early. Um, all of their homes already had Christmas lights and everything. So it's like they're in the Christmas spirit with what little they have. They're not sad and depressed. You got to be in a certain mind frame to get up and decorate for Christmas. I It reminded me of a time last year. Last year I didn't decorate for Christmas. I was in a funk. I get what's called winter blues, and I was going through some personal things at that time last Christmas. So I didn't decorate at all. And um it was me sitting in this big gorgeous house that I have being sad and depressed about some things that I had going on. And then going to this country and seeing how these people live with way less than what I have, and they were still happy. That did something to me. And um, when I came home, day one of being home, we were already in the stores planning our decoration for Christmas. It was me and my daughter. We were both excited to get home and decorate for Christmas because what we saw there, we saw so much poverty, and not just in the mountains that day. That was just one day. Every day driving down the streets, is it that's what I see. I see third world poverty. I didn't take pictures of all that because I don't do that. I don't, display and showcase how people live their everyday lives. I showed y'all the beauty, what I found that was beautiful. That's what I shared. Um, but I'm here to tell you that the whole country does not look like that. at all whatsoever. There's a lot of poverty there, and it was sad to see. um, so that experience, I brought that home. My daughter brought it home, and we both have this whole new level of appreciation for what we have at home. Not even just in my home, just around us, our environment, period. When I got home from the airport, I drove into my neighborhood, into my community, and I'm like, it's so clean. It's so neat. There's no stray dogs. There's no homeless people laying around. There's no people sitting around on lounge chairs drinking beers and smoking. It's just so clean. And that's not something that I thought about every day before I went to Dominican Republic. Every day it was just get in my car and drive and go where I need to go. I never stopped to smell the roses. And coming back, that's what I'm doing. I don't know how much longer this is going to last, but that's going to be an experience that I never forget. So right now, I'm still I'm smelling the roses. um, when I first got to Punta Cana, I went through the honeymoon phase, and I was excited to be there. I was happy to be there because I needed a change of scenery. And so I was in this new environment. I'm near the beach, and so I was excited, and I was sharing how excited I was to be there and how I loved it so much because I was in a honeymoon phase. That quickly wore off, and I was still trying to be positive, but it was a battle. It was a mental struggle, especially as I constantly kept experiencing bad things. Um, so I didn't want to continue to only share the positive and make it seem like this place is so great, because so many people were like, girl, you had me wanting to move there. I wish I was there. I wanted to be there with you. Please understand that it wasn't all peaches and cream. I try to be as candid as possible. I also try to be positive. But yeah, I can't. I couldn't. It wasn't what I showed y'all in the pictures is just what I found to be beautiful. I wanted to share what I found beauty in. The rest of it that y'all didn't see, mm-mm, it 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 outweighed the beautiful parts. Um, but I'm glad I caught the picture, so I'll have the memories of what beauty I did find there. But yeah, things just changed quickly. Um, and I wasn't going to continue to try to force this to be the place for me. So I gave up quick before I got in too deep. That's what I want to say. So that's why my decision was so abrupt. I abruptly made this decision to go home. My dogs didn't have a good life there either. There are no dog parks in Punta Cana. Um, None. Somebody sent me a news article of a dog park that had just been built. It was attached to this energy charging station, like where you charge your electric cars. They added a dog park there, and that's the first dog park that they have. So I'm like, oh, let me go check it out. I passed by it, and when I say little, it was little. Like, it was so small. It's like it's only for, like, I think I mentioned this, but they do not like big dogs in Dominican Republic. So it was not suitable for big dogs. It was a small little area for if you're driving around with your dog and your little teacup dog in the car with you while you're charging your vehicle, you can let the dog run around. That's what it's for. Small dogs. I could never take my big dogs in there. My dogs would clear that little part. And it's not even big enough for them to run around. But that's all they have. So My dogs didn't have a good life there. There aren't any enclosed parks that allow, big dogs to run around. And I cherish that here in Houston. We have so many dog parks for them, and I take them all the time. And they were missing that. My dogs were even sad and depressed. And they just couldn't get the exercise that they needed. Besides our walks, they're still puppies. Even though they're big, they're puppies. They like to run around. They like to get all that puppy energy out. And there's just nowhere easily accessible for them to do that. So it just wasn't right for myself. It wasn't right for my daughter. It wasn't right for my dogs. And there's reasons for all of us. Um, y'all know my daughter was in school online, so she didn't have much of a social life there. Not being able to meet kids in school. We did find the volleyball for her. She met the girls there, and they were nice, but it didn't. It still didn't feel like this was her group. These were her people. It didn't feel like that for her. Um, so all in all, it just wasn't for us to stay. I'm glad that I visited because it was something that I really wanted to do. So I'm glad I did what I wanted to do. Now, there's so many people that are saying, since I've been back home, oh, I'm so sorry it didn't work out. It's nothing to be sorry about. I went there knowing that it was a 50-50. Either I'm going to love it and stay or I'm going to come back home. That's why I left my house as is. I didn't sell it. I didn't rent it out. I didn't pack anything. I left my home as is because I knew there was a 50-50 chance that I was either going to stay or come back home. It was a temporary thing. So there's nothing to be sorry about. I now had I sold my house, I would have been devastated. That would have been something to feel bad about. But there is no reason to feel bad. I That trip served its purpose. Um, there were several reasons for me to go, and it wasn't only to live there. It wasn't only to find a house there for me to live in. It was for me to 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 disconnect, to to relax and not work so much because I was working too much before I left. So I didn't work while I was there. Um, and so I got that out of it. I got an experience in a new country. I got to relax and not work and not have to worry about caring about other people and their needs and meeting everybody else's needs. I was focused on me. I needed me. Before I left, everybody needed me, needed something from me. There, nobody needed anything from me. So I was able to bring it down and relax. Um, so I got that. The trip served its purpose. I it served all of the purposes, the intended purposes. The only thing that didn't happen was me deciding that I was going to make it my home, and that was a 50-50. Oh, the other thing I want to mention, healthcare, the VA healthcare. Yes, that is another thing that I liked. So that's what, three things? The beach, well, four things that I liked about it. The VA healthcare, it was great. Um, you're sure to get your appointments there. You're sure to get all of the healthcare that you need there because they get paid from the VA for everything they do for you. So of course they're going to give you your appointments. They want to file the claim and get paid. So you're going to get the healthcare there. But aside of the healthcare, I did like that they try to build a community for the veterans to bring everybody together. I did like that. Only thing I didn't like about the program for the specific clinic that I was assigned to was the administration. I mentioned this in one of my prior videos. They're not, here we have in the US, we have healthcare administration where they have administrative professionals trained specifically in the healthcare field. We didn't have that over there. There are no healthcare administrators. There are no um, nurse techs. None of that. So that I didn't like that about that particular clinic. They have no sense of privacy. You It's like six of us sitting out in the lobby, and they're yelling over the counter what your upcoming appointments are. All of us don't need to hear what that person's appointments are. These people don't need to know what my appointments are. They just don't have a sense of privacy. And that's one thing healthcare administrators learn in that specific training. So they don't have that. Um, and they talk about everybody's, business. So I didn't like that. But the care itself is there. The community is there. And I'm only speaking about this one specific clinic. There are multiple clinics throughout the country uh, that that are privately owned. They're not all, um, what's the word, affiliated with each other. They're each privately owned. So they operate different. The one I was at just happened to be probably one of the newest ones, so they didn't really have all their stuff together. Um, you could tell, and I visited another clinic when I went up north, and I see the difference. It was a huge difference in the way that the staff handles you, because the one up north is a far more established clinic. So they treat you and handle you differently than the clinic that I was assigned to. So the good thing is that you don't have to live there to get this care. People travel there for the care, just for the care alone. So you don't have to live there um, to be a member of their clinic and receive health care. Um, and it is a lot better care and more focused on making you better, making you healthier than the VA healthcare that we get here in the U.S. So that was one thing that uh, I needed to add to the pros. The VA healthcare, just gotta find the right clinic. Um, so that sums up my journey, and I know that I gained some new subscribers after changing my content to capture my journey as an expat in Dominican Republic. So if you only subscribe for that reason, I'm sorry that our journey together has been cut short, but I'm not gonna continue to um, I'm not gonna make something what it wasn't. So that chapter is over in my life. I did it. I'm glad that I did it. So what I want to say is that if that's something that you want to do, if Dominican Republic is a place that you've always wanted to go, go. Don't let what I'm saying or my experience discourage you or change your mind. Still go, because it's better to have gone and experienced it than to stay home and always wonder what it would have been like. Oh man, what if I would have went? What if I should have went? Should I have gone? Just go. I'm not discouraging anybody from going. I'm just sharing my experience, because what happened to me may not happen to you. You may have a completely different experience, or some of the things that happened to me might happen to you. Maybe not all. So, um, just go and experience it for yourself if that's something that you've always wanted to do. Don't let anybody stop you from doing what you want to do. I feel better doing it, even though I didn't love it. I got closure because I did it. I'm not still sitting here wondering what it would be like if I went. I got it out of my system. I'm good. um, the reason why now, even though I didn't like Punta Cana, I did love the North, and I was still considering going back to visit and spend more time in the north. But what changed my mind was when I left at the airport. I had a very unpleasant experience, and I told myself, F that, I'm never coming back. Not even to visit. I will never spend another dollar in this country. And the reason why is because going through customs or whatever they call it, TSA is. I don't think it's called TSA there. They don't even acknowledge TSA pre-check. Everybody going the same line. Um, but I'm going through taking off my shoes and my jacket to put it on the belt to go under the machine, and the person, the security, was telling people behind me to go in front of me. So I'm like, we all preparing to, and it was just my jacket and my shoes, and I had on slides, so it ain't like I had to untie shoes. No, I had on slides. But he was telling people to go around me, and I'm like, okay. So I felt like they already knew that they was gonna mess with me. Um, so anyway, I finally get to the other side to grab my bags, and the security, the lady on that side, she pulled it from me, and I was like, "What are you doing?" And she was like, "You need to wait," and she pushed my stuff to the side. So I'm like, I I doubled and triple checked to make sure I ain't have nothing in it that shouldn't have been in it. What is the problem? Tell me why this lady decides to go in me and my daughter's bags. First, she went in my daughter's bag. She pulled out, she just started digging through it. Like she just started digging, like she was just being nosy and wanted to see what we had. She pulled out her Bible, flipped through it. Like, girl, what are you looking for in the Bible? So here I am trying to give her the benefit of the doubt. Maybe, I've seen in movies where people, use Bibles to move bricks and, hide stuff in there. So maybe that's why she did that. Um, she threw the Bible back in her bag. Then she goes in my bag and she digging, just digging. Pulled out my wallet, opened my wallet, and flipping through my stuff. Now I have a, because I still write checks. So I have that kind of wallet with the checkbook in it. And, all my cards and stuff, ID, everything. She digging through my cards and stuff and digging through my wallet. Like, all the years that I've been flying, I have never had anybody open my wallet. I've never had anybody dig through my wallet or even touch it, even take it out the bag, out my purse. For me, I felt like it was like a power move for her, you know. Um, it was disrespectful. It was a violation. I felt extremely violated in that moment. And I didn't say anything because, as much as I wanted to, I didn't say anything because I knew if I did, security was going to come over and grab me. Like I'm wrong. Like she didn't do anything wrong. What protocol allows you to dig through somebody's wallet? What could that machine have shown that looked like something, a prohibited item in my wallet? Nothing. It was a power move for her. Eh, and they do discriminate. Even though her and our skin look the same color, that's how they are in that country. They do discriminate against Americans. Um, yeah, after she did that, I was like, oh, I'm really done. I am never coming back to this country. It's fucking corrupt. If they can just do whatever they want to whoever they want, this is not a place for me. I will never come back and spend $1 in this country. Just done. So I got my stuff, and I'm the type of person where I don't even have to open my mouth and say anything. My face will say it all. And she got that when I snatched my wallet back from her, because she knew that I knew she didn't have a reason to go through my wallet. It was just a power move for her to make her feel superior in that moment. My face said it all. I didn't even have to open my mouth. I was disgusted. I felt violated. And yeah, I would never. So as much as I would have wanted to go back to visit the North, I will never go back ever. Um, so yeah, that was that was just it for me. That sealed the deal. A couple other things I didn't like. It's now coming to me. Um, the police are corrupt. They're not there to serve and protect you, especially if you're not from there. Um, there really is no protection for you because, sometimes people say, um, especially when you want to buy real estate, get an attorney. Make sure you have a good attorney. Make sure you have a good attorney. Well, I found out that attorneys aren't even attorneys. I going there, I knew that real estate agents weren't real agents. They're not licensed in that country. It's people, it's foreigners coming from other countries that are licensed in their country to do real estate, and they come there and do it. Or you have just locals that just get up, and that's what they try to do, is call themselves a real estate agent because they want to try to help people find houses to make money. That's a normal thing there. But I did not know that attorneys were the same way. It When I found that out, it just blew my mind. I was like, so we are just not protected. Like, anything you do here is a risk. Even if you have an attorney, buying a house there is risky. Um, so yeah, I mean, if you ever run into any legal troubles there and you need an attorney, you have to do your due diligence to really research. They're just not at your disposal like that because you don't know who's a real, you know, trained or licensed or, degreed. Yeah, everything is just too shady there for me. This is just too shady. Um, I felt completely like exposed to too many more risks by knowing that there are fake attorneys there. One thing about that place is that you can be whatever you want to be. Whatever you want to call yourself, that's what you are. If you're a real estate agent, if you want to call yourself that, you're that. If you want to call yourself an attorney, you're that. Anything you want to call yourself, you're that. That's dangerous. That's a dangerous place to be. So, yeah, that was another thing I didn't like. Another thing I don't like is that they it's like you have to be with a Dominican to feel any sense of protection. Um, a lot of foreign women go there and get with local Dominican guys. A lot of foreign men go there and get with the local women. Um, and they're kind of protected from a lot of the stuff that foreigners are usually subjected to, because they're with somebody from the country that knows the game and knows the in and outs. So they won't get picked on as much. I didn't have that that type of protection because I didn't want to be with nobody. I don't want to be with nobody, and I don't feel like that I should have to be with somebody to not be targeted. So that's another reason why that's not a place for me. It's like you literally have to be with a Dominican in order to be protected from the Dominicans. That's not a place for me. I'll tell you one story real quick. When I went to um, that Thanksgiving gathering for the veterans, that particular clinic up north is majority, the majority of them are men that are members of that clinic, American men. Um, so American men go to Dominican and they get these Dominican girls, and because that's their protection. Um, they get with these women, and these women are always so open to American men, especially the veterans. Um, I don't know, it's a meal ticket for them, I guess. And so I told y'all before, a lot of people thought that I was Dominican. And that was like a blessing and a curse at the same time. So while I'm at this event with these vets, I'm not a member of this clinic, so I don't know anybody here. The staff invited me. So I'm sitting at a table, me and Sanaa sitting at a table. And it was just us two at the table at first. But then this family came in, this guy, his woman, and I don't know if it was her son or whoever this young adult was with them. Um, but they came and sat at our table, didn't say one word to us, not one. The guy left. Of course, he was the vet. He left, and it was just the lady and the adult, young adult, still at the table. They never opened their mouths and said one word to us. Now I knew it could have been maybe because she don't speak English, but hola, buenas tardes, something, you know. She didn't open her mouth and say one word. So it was awkward just sitting at the table. These strangers came and sat at our table and didn't say a word to us. So when the guy came back to the table, and let me mention this too. As I looked around the restaurant, it was a bunch of men, like I said, American men with these Dominican women. Um, so I kind of felt out of place. Um, the guy came back to the table finally, and he even sat there and didn't say a word. And it was awkward, of course, still. So at some point, I decided, okay, let me break the ice and start conversation because she probably thinks that I'm one of them. She probably doesn't realize that I'm a vet myself. So she thinks that I'm one of these women, like I want her man or something. Sweetheart, I'm not here for a meal ticket. I am the ticket. Um, so I started conversation with him, broke the ice, just to break the ice and let them know that, hey, I'm a vet too. I'm not here for what you think I'm here for. So once I started speaking English, perfectly good English, and I mentioned to him, I asked him, told him I was Air Force, what branch are you? So we started that whole conversation, and conversation just flowed from that point on. And once she realized that I was a vet myself and I'm not just some mango hanging around trying to find me an American man, then she started talking. As me and her man, I don't know if it's her husband or what, but as me and him were conversating about the military and stuff, um, then she want to try to chime in and jump in the conversation like, yeah. So issues like that. Um, yeah, it was, I will never forget that. It was a weird experience, a weird situation to be in. Um, but situations like that wasn't the only time something awkward like that happened. That was just one event. Made me realize that every demographic is gonna have a different experience. Um, being being an American single woman, being an American single man, we're gonna have two different experiences. Being Going over there as a married person, going over there with small children, um, we're all gonna have different experiences. Because I'm American, single, I look younger than I am. Those guys look at me like I'm there to have a good time and they approach me that way. I'm not. I don't want any of y'all dusty asses. I'm good. I'm just here for me. But the guys there are, they have no filter. They have no tact. They're very disrespectful. To them, that's normal. And people will tell you, oh, that's just how they are. I don't like that. It's very uncomfortable. They're too passionate. They're overly aggressive. In the US, that's what we would call it. Over there, that's normal for them. And that's supposed to be acceptable. In no country is that acceptable to me. In no country is it acceptable to me to feel uncomfortable. I have to accept feeling uncomfortable. I have to accept the way they are. No, I will take my ass home. I'm good. Everywhere we went, the guys stared at us like I had to look down and make sure I still had my clothes on. My daughter, she's 16, but she looks more mature for her age. They did the same thing to her. Now, just because she looks, different, she doesn't look her age. Her her mind is still a 16-year-old. So she was way more uncomfortable, and like she got a little bit of PTSD from those guys, how aggressive they are, how how they just stare. Y'all know in the US we don't do that. We don't like people staring at us. But they do that over there. And I mean, and they in your eyes. They lock eyes with you. And it's just so weird. I don't like that. If I'm my age, my big grown ass, I don't like it. Imagine how that made my 16-year-old daughter feels. She didn't feel safe anywhere she went because of how those guys are. And yeah, it was not a great experience for us. Now, there's going to be people that say, oh, that didn't happen to me. That didn't happen to me. Well, maybe they don't like you. um, I don't know. I mean, if you're with small children, they probably won't do that to you. If you're with a man, they probably won't do that to you. But it was just me and her out together all the time. And they look at us, they like what they see. They think we're there to have a good time, and we are, but not with you. I mean, we had guys walk up to us. We walking down the beach. Guys would just start walking with us, asking all these personal questions. Guys asking, "Oh, could I video you? Can I take picture? Hell no! It's just such a weird place to be. I couldn't get comfortable there. Um, so yeah, add that to my list of cons. I don't like that. If you like attention, go. You're gonna get it. You're gonna get it if you like it. I don't like attention like that. So yeah, I didn't like it. So that pretty much. So I'm pretty sure there's other things too that like shopping. Good luck trying to shop there. Um, but there are so many other things that I'm already over an hour. So I'm gonna cut it short here. I think I shared enough for you to get the point. um, But yes, so that experience, I don't regret any of it. I got the experience that I needed. I learned some things about myself. So I came home more appreciative of what I have. The trip served its purpose. It helped me decide that I don't want to live there. I need more civilization. Um, it's just too grungy and barbaric there for me. Sorry, but that's just what it is. Um, so what that did for me was help me learn the things about myself that I needed to learn so that when I choose the next place, I'm going to make a better decision. It's only going to get better from here now because I experienced what I needed to experience. I learned, what I need. I learned more of my needs and my dogs and everything. So the trip served its purpose. So it's nothing to feel bad about, nothing to be sorry about. I'm back home in my lovely house. I'm good. Trust me, I'm good. Another thing, I did share with y'all some of the things that I did to prepare financially to get there. One of the things was I sold two of my cars. Um, I sold my business. But let me explain something. Let me make this clear. None of that was solely to go there. It was things that I needed to do anyway because I mentioned 100 times I want to live a slower, more simple life. Having all the things that I had, it was impossible to live slower because I got to work to maintain, to keep everything. Um, the business that I had, my event planning business and event and rentals, I didn't want to do that anymore anyway. I wanted to get out of the business. So selling it was the only way to stop it because if I held on to it, I was going to continue in that rat race. It was no way out. So I had to sell it. So I was already a few steps ahead. People are like, "Oh, she sold her business and she ended up coming back home." That was a part of the plan. I didn't want even we know it was a 50-50 whether I was going to want to stay there or not. I had already thought this through. Even coming back home, even if I had decided not to stay there and come back home, I didn't want to get back in that business. So I told myself if I sell it before I leave and I end up coming back home, that's the only guarantee that I'm not going to get back in the business. I got to sell it. I could have put it on hold. I could have just said, put my business on hold and went to check it out, went there temporarily and came back to the business. But I didn't want to come back to the business, so I had to sell it. Now, it forced me to do what I needed to do. So, selling the cars. I didn't need all them cars. It's just me and my daughter here. My oldest daughter live on her own. She got her own car, her own apartment. We didn't need 3 cars. So, preparing to make that trip helped me do things sooner. Um, do the things that I needed to do sooner. I always knew in the back of my mind I needed to do this, but I just wasn't doing it. But taking that trip helped me do what I needed to do sooner. So, with that being said, I'm back home in a better position than I was before I left, because now that I don't have so much that I have to pay for and maintain and be involved in and do and work so much, I don't have to work that much anymore. I can relax. I can work when I want to work. I can relax. So I am in a better position now than before I left. So the trip served its purpose. Absolutely nothing to feel sorry about. um, yeah. So be happy for me. Be happy for me. I'm happy. I can relax. So this is the end of the Dominican series. Um Again, if you only followed me because I was, giving the Dominican content, I'm sorry our journey together ended so early, but I gotta keep it real. And so I'm not gonna make any more videos. I'm not gonna be posting anything else about Dominican Republic. I'll share the photos that I took, the beauty that I did find in the country. I will share those, but just know that that's not all to it. There's so much more to the country. So don't be discouraged if that's the place where you always wanted to go. Go, experience it for yourself. Um, and I hope that it's whatever you want it to be for yourself. But I had to do what was right for me, and that was bring my ass back home and go back to the drawing board and find somewhere better to go. Um, but yeah, so that's it. That's all I got. Um, Content is gonna be changing again. But whatever it is always gonna be me keeping it real about something. There's a lot of content creators on YouTube that get paid to say things, or trying to get paid to say things. So they're gonna sell you fantasies, sell you dreams. I'm not here for that. I don't even want to get paid from YouTube, because once you start, it's like you get addicted and you have to keep doing it. I don't want that responsibility. I share what I share, and that's it. Um, so that's it. That's all I got. Just be careful what you take in, what you listen to, what you watch on YouTube, because like I said, some of these people just say what they need to say to get paid. I'm not here to paint this picture like I'm living this perfect life, or like I was living this perfect life in Dominican Republic, because it wasn't. Just that wasn't it for me. So y'all know when I do get to the next place and I love it, you're gonna know that I truly love it. You're gonna know that I'm keeping it real, because I will keep it real with you when I don't. And y'all have witnessed that in this video. So that's the end of our Dominican Republic journey. You can continue to subscribe if you want. If not, it was good to have you here. And that's it. Like I said, though, I'm not debating anything, so don't leave no comments arguing your point, debating anything that I said. My experience was my experience, and there's nothing anybody can say that can change my experience. So that's the end of that. No more Dominican Republic talk. that chapter is closed. On to the next. So I don't know what I'm going to come back with. Maybe get back into some more real estate talk. I don't know. We'll see. But y'all stick around. And if you want to, if not, it was nice having you here. But y'all take care. And if I'm not back on here before Christmas, y'all have the happiest holiday. I know we will. We've already decorated. And I just feel so good being at home. We decorated our house. I wasn't gonna decorate anything if I would have been there for Christmas. It wouldn't have felt like a Christmas. There was no spirit there for me. I didn't feel it. So I'm glad to be back home. So happy holidays if I'm not back on here before then. And y'all take care. Thank you for following my Dominican Republic journey, even though it was cut short. But I had to keep it real and make me happy. So y'all take care, and I will see y'all on the next one.